All right, let me welcome all of you to another one of our co-founder trainings. We do these on Mondays and Thursdays at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is our Monday edition for June 16th. And I'm glad to have all of you here. So many faces I recognize and know well. And I really do appreciate each of you that choose to be here in the live version of this. And those of you catching us on YouTube, we hope that you'll join us live as well. All right, we just got done watching a video, a new addition here to the Bitcoin Ace channel here on YouTube. The artificial scarcity trap. And that was the result of a paragraph I wrote here. Let me just read that to you because really I think I'm going to make another video just with what I wrote here because it really gets to the point. It makes it clear. And AI has a way of putting something out that's really quite beautiful, but sometimes in its eloquence, it misses the point, you know? So humanity is in a snare, yet most can't see the trap that holds them. Perhaps because we are not asking the right questions. It is commonly known that within the modern financial system, the banks print money out of thin air. One would think with that kind of power, there should be plenty of money to go around and everyone should be able to live comfortable lives. Upon inspection, it's not hard to see how this financial system serves the few at the expense of the many. Once you identify that, you can begin to see the trap. If you see the trap, you can find a way to get out of it. If money is endless and printed out of thin air, why are people dying of hunger? Why is the class of poverty growing so fast? How much crime is motivated by the sense that there is a lack of money? Why is so much of our time spent in the pursuit of money? Would war exist if abundance was spread to everyone? When you start asking these kind of questions, you will start to see the need to get out of this trap. Clearly, the few don't have the well-being of the many in their hearts. Yes, there is a way out. Where there is a will, there is a way. The best way is nonviolent. Consider the power of mass cooperation. And that is our solution to that problem. All right. Let me go into our website here. And at the center of this mass cooperation that we're doing in pool funding is the pool funding commitment. All members, not some of us, but all members are bound by the commitment here. Okay. That is really the point of it all. And that's why it should be taken very serious by every member. Okay. Not just some. Okay. So there is so much going on. There's a lot happening behind the scenes. Let me try to just give you some quick updates on some things, and then we'll get into a general discussion. First of all, we're much closer now to uh, putting a system, in the hands of everyone that allows new people literally to just join us with a single click. Okay. So they'd be able to, it's going to be really easy for people to join going forward once we do this. They could join using Google, their Google account. They could join using their Facebook account. And that's not the only way. They could join using a wallet. And we'll actually be able to service pretty much every wallet out there. I think there's over 60 of them on the list that I've seen. So it's going to allow a lot of flexibility going forward. And and it's going to be a much easier thing for us to fulfill our orders when it comes to paid signups, because it's just going to take all the um, clunkiness out of the process that maybe people have stumbled through, because had no shortage of people coming in, no shortage of traffic, no shortage of, so that wasn't the issue. The issue is that when they came to our, the beginning of our process, it just it wasn't smooth, and so that's what we're going to improve on when it comes to that. So this is an important thing, and I want you all to be prepared for it. One of the things that will be included is that when you start making your payments, you'll start taking a picture. So you'll be needing to use a device that actually allows you to operate a camera, so every time for every transaction has a picture to go with it, and that way we can defeat those that are trying to get their unfair share by having multiple accounts and trying to pay on several accounts. So everybody should be, able to operate a device and participate equally, and nobody getting any unfair advantages. Because what we're trying to do is not just so this isn't a money game. Okay, this is an approach to creating a real alternative to what I see coming very soon as the UBI, or Universal Basic Income. There is no question. I mean, even the mainstream is continuously telling us, okay, that there's going to be massive unemployment as a result of the technological advancements that are happening through AI and robotics. And they're going to tell you that the solution is a universal basic income, but we don't necessarily have to go there if there's already enough people saying that that's not even necessary. What if a universal basic income isn't even you know necessary, because enough people are showing that they don't technically need those jobs after all. In fact, they can be fine financially. But we're in, very small, infantile at this point. So we have big ideas, big vision, big, so I mean, understand our placement in the timeline where we're at. We're not even a toddler at the stage we're at right now. Uh, we haven't even learned how to crawl yet, let alone walk. Okay, we're that much of a infant, at the infancy stage. But at the same time, there's so much great opportunity being here this early. As they say, the early adopters can win big. So realize that there's some advancements that are happening in pool funding. And along with it, I won't be in the refund business anymore. What will happen is basically the system will know who's active above you and in each pool, and it will send the payment to the right person, whoever that might be. And it's not going to be me, unless you're one of my direct referrals. Okay. So it's not going to go the guarantee. So these things are coming, and they're coming very soon. Okay. So you need to be spreading the word. Each of you now have access to a genealogy. Let me share my screen. You didn't have this for such a long time before, but now you do. You click on genealogy. It's important that people get verified. If I see a picture, these pictures are the verification pictures that we took when people go through the verification process. Okay. If you don't see a picture, then it's most likely someone that hasn't been through the verification process. And you can certainly drill down. Let's see here. If I go here and I go view genealogy, I can view it from that perspective. So I can look at what's going on here, and you just keep on drilling down. Congratulations, Pastor, on having, a team of 1,821 people below you. Did you have any idea it was that big? Wow. Anyway, you have now that tool you didn't have before. And now that you should be using that tool, because in order for pool funding to work, it's not a mechanical thing. So what I mean by that is that has everything to do with relationships, and the relationships begin with the sponsor referral relationship. I consider that a very sacred space, between a referral and their sponsor, and deserves a lot of respect. Okay. But in addition to that relationship, there is, obviously the support that comes from people that are above the sponsor. It's just easy to say, even though we're not in network marketing, it's just easy to call that an upline. Okay. you know, and then obviously we also have administrative support as well, working around the clock, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, so there's no shortage of support. But at the end of the day, when people look at pool funding, what they need to see is a real community of real people having individual conversations with each other and team meetings with each other and that sort of thing. So before I came into here, this particular call, I was invited into such a team meeting. Let me just talk to Karen for a moment. Hello, Karen. Karen Stoyles.
I'm here.
So a great leader, in here within pool funding, and her team is developing quite nicely. And she's also been with pool funding for quite a while. How long's it been now?
I just passed my first anniversary.
Well, happy anniversary to you on pool funding. How about
Thank
everybody
Happy
you.
anniversary,
applaud her
Karen.
for that? Yeah, yeah, yay! Everybody unmute and congratulate her on her 1 year anniversary.
Well done.
Thank you. It's been a lot of fun. I've learned a lot,
Yeah, it's good to
awful
learn,
lot.
isn't it? Yeah. So
Very good.
Job
Very
always,
good.
Karen. That's so good.
Hey,
Thank you.
Anta said, well done. I said, done well.
it works both
And,
directions.
Uh,
and Karen,
Uh,
you've contributed a lot.
I would second that, Greg. Thank you for
Yeah.
pointing that out. In fact,
Well,
our
that would,
now that we're officially a movement because of the song that she created through probably the use of AI, right? So, yeah, thank you for that. We're going to be recognizing that in all of our meetings, for for a while at least.
oh, you're
So
welcome. Enjoy, enjoy.
it was very nice, and it's not the first time I've seen songs being created for stuff that I'm part of. But anyway, um, yeah, I love it when creativity is flowing like that. But the thing is, guys, we look at our charts, which, if we look at it strictly from a mechanical point of view, we can see it go up, we can see it go down, and we have our ways of looking at it. Everybody has a perspective when they're looking at charts. I'll be adding some insights on that chart reading here inside the meeting today. But I will tell you this, that any concern we may have about sellers is not just my responsibility, right? Because I think I've mentioned this multiple times already that there's only one of me. Can we all agree on that?
Correct.
So we need to add to it in order to basically get the point of unwanted selling to either be reduced quite a bit or completely eliminated. In order to reach that objective, we need to add a couple more elements to the mix that weren't present before. Okay. One element that I would say is very important would be accountability. Okay. So we don't want, like, this thing's going to grow. We're thousands of people, but it will be tens of thousands, hundreds of, think I'm only one, there's only one administration and blah, blah. It can't all be burdened on top of the administration, right? So the accountability has to get down into the team structure of what we're building together. Does that make sense, guys?
Yeah, makes sense.
So therefore, yes, this isn't there now, but what will come, as soon as we build it, is that we'll have a notification system built into the website. And I'm thinking at least 3 levels up, maybe 5, but for sure 3. Okay. Where if somebody sells, boom, the sponsor gets a notification, the person above the sponsor and the person above that. That's 3 levels, right? They all get a notification that, Joe Cool over here decided to sell, right? And this is what he did, right? So there's an awareness, and and the relationships should be such that everybody should be able to reach out to each other. Part of a community is being available and accessible one to another. Does that make sense, guys?
Yes.
So,
Yes, it does.
I mean,
Yes, yes.
if I was a sponsor and I got, or even if I was an upline and I got a notification that Joe Cool over here decided to sell, then I'd be reaching out to Joe Cool, say, "Hey, what's going on? You violated the commitment. Like right now, how much can our members sell right now, guys? How much can they sell according to the pool funding commitment? How much can they sell right now?
Less than
No more than
10%.
Nothing.
10%.
Right now,
Right now, nothing.
Zero.
No
Zero.
selling. No selling.
Zero.
No selling.
No one should be
No
selling
selling.
That's right. Yep.
because we haven't hit our first price target. Okay. And then it can be measured after we hit our first price target. And then we're not talking about one price target. There's 4 of them, right? So we got to hit all of our price targets. And then we can say limited selling is available. But even still, that would still be any kind of selling would be basically an injury to the seller, whether they realize it or not, because the future value of money in pool funding is significant. Okay. Very large. So why would you take something that's appreciating and sell it for pennies on the dollar when you just need to hold on to it? And later, 2 things will come up. One will come up that you'll be able to take out loans against what you're holding, right? How's that sound as a way to access, the value of your coins? How's that sound, guys? That sound
Yeah,
good?
that's a perfect
That
plan.
sounds great. That sounds
Sounds
great.
great.
Good. Very
And,
good.
and 2, a peer-to-peer platform that we can create within our community to allow members to buy and sell coins among each other. How's that sound?
Sound
Sounds
fantastic.
good.
Win-win.
Because in both cases it doesn't impact the price. It's neutral to the price. Am I right?
Right.
Yes, sir.
And so, look, in order for us to, grow up, like we're infantile now, but in order to become the mature adult version of what we're building together, we are co-founders. That's why I say we're doing it together, right? So I just want you to understand that the other element that's important here is responsibility. Garfield, can you mute, please? Okay, thank you.
I got it.
All right. Okay, so is responsibility, okay? And I like to say it like this: response ability, right? I like to say it like that because when you recognize that you have the ability to choose and you got free will and you have ability, right? Then you get to choose your response, right? That's the way I like to look at it. Some people when they hear the word responsibility, they're like, right? And that's like the right way to look at it. The right way to look at it is like, oh, it's like an opportunity, more like an opportunity than like a burden, because we all like to see things grow. We all like to see things, blossom and bloom and become more than what it started out. And we also like the fact that we can participate in such growth and we can actually, so if I was, a leader, I'd be looking at my team the same way I'd look at a garden, you know? And so I'm going to be making sure the garden is ship shape and all good and, get rid of the weeds and make sure there's plenty of moisture, in the soil and make sure there's enough nutrient, in the soil, right? And all that kind of stuff. And then, all the priming and all that goes on when it comes to gardening. But you get this like satisfaction of like the produce that comes forth as a result, and it can be quite abundant. I can recall many times my father bringing baskets of tomatoes and cucumbers to church and just giving them away because he just had too many. He had too many from the garden. So the natural abundance of the place where we live, this earth, that we live here is just so amazing. Wouldn't you guys agree how amazing abundance is such a natural element of where we live? Wouldn't you guys
Yes.
agree?
Yes.
Yes, definitely.
And on the other hand, doesn't it kind of piss you off the artificial scarcity that's been overlaid on top of that? And it cuts people off from all that natural abundance, right? And it's a
Oh,
bit of
yes.
it's a snare, it's a trap. Well, pool funding's a way out, right? And we're not looking just for a few of us to get out. You know what I'm saying? It really, this is like an all for one for all, and it's humanity. There needs to be an escape plan for humanity, because I don't know about you, but I know that one thing can lead to another, and I can easily see the dots connecting between UBI and the transhumanism agenda. How many of you have looked into the transhumanism agenda? Anybody here looked into it? No? I'm the only one?
A little bit.
A little bit? How many of you ever watched how many of you ever watched Star Trek? Anybody here what?
Yeah.
I have.
All of
Okay.
us.
Okay. Do you guys know the Borg? Have you ever heard of the Borg?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Yes.
would you like to be assimilated into the Borg? How many of you would like to be assimilated into the Borg?
No.
No, thank
No.
Resistance
No,
is
thank-
futile. No. We don't want that message in front of humanity where resistance is futile. Okay. No, we can't accept that as a message, can we? So if there's intent by those
No.
that think they're in charge or think that they're running the show to, basically on one hand, do a massive depopulation, which is scheduled for 2025, by the way. And on the other hand, that one thing leads to another, and they lead you into becoming basically not human anymore. So they call it transhuman, because you're no longer human, because now you're kind of it's the blending of man and machine, if you will. And trust me, anybody who actually goes that entire path and ends up being changed in that way, not a happy camper. I promise you that. There's no way you can be changed in that way and actually have any degree of anything you would call happiness, you know. I to me, I just think of it, if you like avoiding pain, you don't want to go there. Okay. So to me, that just represents, horrible pain, on so many different levels. So anyway, so you have to hopefully open your eyes to enough to see that there is a trap. The video I played at the beginning here, basically said, the problem we really have here is that most people don't see the trap that they're in, right? They don't even recognize it as a trap. They just think it is what it is, right? And they don't see that it's a creation, an artificial, man-made, if you want to call it man-made. It might be something other than man-made, but let's just keep it simple for now, okay? But it's an artificial creation, and its intent is not good, okay? So yeah. I mean, humanity has a choice, and the power lies within us. And see, the ones that have these agendas, they know where the power is. They're doing their best to deceive us into thinking getting us to all have a belief system where each of us as individuals consider ourselves small and insignificant and powerless, right? So you can understand if you can convince someone that they're small, insignificant, and powerless, how it's easy to do whatever you want with someone like that, right? If you're trying to control someone, or if you're trying to manipulate them, or if you're trying to, you know, get them to, do your bidding or enslave them, whatever term you want to use here. If you just get the person to believe that they're small, powerless, insignificant, then it's a lot easier task for the person or persons that would you want to have their way, and this isn't just an issue for some of us. It's not just an issue in certain countries. This doesn't just we're not talking about something that's isolated over here and the rest of the world's going to be fine. No, no, no. We have people, this is an international call. We got people from Canada here, Australia, Thailand. I'm in the Philippines. We got Panama hosting the call today. Thank you, Hunter. And of course, many of you from the US, and there's others here from the Philippines as well. And I'm sure there's other people from other countries. I may have just omitted to say your country that you're in, but hey, we got people from all over on this call right now live. And we in every country that we're in, we're all impacted by the same trap, the same snare, and yet most people can't see it. They can't even see the trap. They just think it is what it is. And that's what, and then they can revert back to a thinking of, well, and what could I do about it anyway, right? Let me tell you something, guys. Mass cooperation is a super powerful thing, right? Imagine a world being moved along through mass cooperation where there was zero violence. Imagine that world. What do you guys think about that? A movement of mass
Sounds excellent.
cooperation without even the desire or need for any sort or any level or let's just say in a do no harm manner. Okay, it's not violent. It's not hurting people's feelings. It's not divisive. It's not it's not creating any kind of it doesn't hurt people in any way, shape, or form. Okay. You see, mass cooperation that is truly good has no need to, bring harm, and it has really no need to sit there and draw lines between, friend and enemy. That's really not the way to look at it. The best way to look at it is just look at it as a competing systems, a system that works against a system that doesn't. That's a better way to look at it. Wouldn't you guys agree?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yep.
So my eyes are open. I see the so-called, conventional systems that I've grown up with my entire life. I see them in collapse mode. How many of you are seeing what I see?
Me,
Okay.
I am.
Yeah. And so the whole thing about systems that don't work, they end up collapsing anyway. You don't have to do anything. It's not like you have to do something for them to collapse. They're just going to anyway. Does that make sense, guys? But
Yes.
wouldn't it be great to already have something in play that works? And enough people are participating that, there's lots of evidence. This works. Over here, this works. And then it gives humanity a path, right, that can be expanded. There's the vision there. That's the vision. So, but look, I don't think this can be led by one person. That's why I'm looking for 10,000 co-founders. Okay? I mean, yeah, it's generally a bad idea for there to only be one leader of anything, by the way. Okay? Maybe you know what I mean, maybe you don't. Okay? But the bottom line is if a collective of people are all doing just small things, right, but added together, all those small things contribute to a greater whole, which is synergy basically by definition, which is the whole is greater than the sum of its parts, right? So that concept right there, and basically what leads the whole thing is actually not a person or even persons, but actually it's idea or an idea or ideas, okay, leading it forward. How's that resonate with you guys?
Perfectly.
Lovely.
Yep,
Okay.
exactly what we want.
Because nobody wants to be the martyr. I certainly don't. Do you? Anybody here want to join up for that club, the Martyr Club? You know. So okay, all right, good deal. So no need for that. What we got here is powerful because we know where the money is. It's in the market. Okay. We've got a great system with 100% commission on a way to extract it out, bring it into the economy. Okay, with 100% commission. And the backbone of this holding it up is actually the fact that we've got coins in the market and currently being supported by Wells, which will be expanded into economic development later, which will, give it a rib cage and everything else. Okay. Put some organs on it. But for now, we've got the beginning of a backbone here for what we're doing. And I'm looking at many of you going, well, so many of you are Wells. I recognize you. Maybe you don't recognize each other, but I know who you are. Okay. And look, you guys are doing great. And I got a really good news for you today. Okay. So for all of you that are already in the club, the June promotion is going to be expanded to become a June-July promotion. Even if you're not a Well, can we celebrate that?
Mhm.
Can we celebrate
Yeah,
that?
that's awesome. Yeah.
Okay. That's a good deal. So Wells know what I'm talking about because they're the ones collecting the rewards. Okay. So the rewards now got pushed into the whole month of July. So you got the rest of June and all of July, same rewards, right? Take advantage of that. Okay. So when we look at the charts, there's a perspective that needs to be in play here that I want to embed. Okay. Let's go to the charts. All right. So I can just flip through them pretty quick through here. Okay. So I'll just kind of move through them quickly. You can see the charts. Okay. This is the PFG. And then it goes to PFI. And it goes to PFS. And then it goes to PFB, right? It's not the right order, but it's, all four of them. Okay. Now, the perspective you need to see here is twofold. Okay. As a member, you look at this and go, we still have some work to do. There's people selling, and they shouldn't be because there should be zero selling from members. Am I right?
You're right.
Yes.
Okay.
That's the idea.
Right.
On
Yes.
on the other hand, the other perspective is if you happen to be wearing a Well hat, you're going, yeah, I can get more coin for the dollar now. Yeah, because you're recognizing that, buying the dip is always a good thing when you're accumulating something. Am I right?
Yep.
You are right about that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And so anybody smart enough to, gobble up what they can in the early stages, but we start to get to, $100,000 PFB and, $200,000 PFS. You're not getting as much coin as you are at these levels. Okay. Right. So just appreciate what that means because, everything will be relative when you look over 20 years forward on this. Like it's a game of marbles. The one that has the most marbles is likely to win. So there is definitely some friendly competition going on there to amass greater accumulation of these coins, and there's only a limited number of spots. There's only 50 top holders for each of the four coins. And we have super Wells. Many of you are super Wells, and you actually are holding one of the top 50 spots in all four of the coins. So that means there's less spots available, right? So I'm predicting that we'll probably end up with about 70 spots in the end, and we'll probably figure out who they are by September. Okay, so just realize that the Wells deserve our gratitude for being here and making the vision more clear. Right, without the Wells present, they this would just sound like a great idea, but the evidence would be a little lacking. You know what I'm saying? But the Wells are actually contributing to that evidence now. We do appreciate the Wells. So how about we just all unmute and say thank you to the Wells. Thank you, Wells.
Thank you, Wales.
Thank you, Wells.
Thank you, Wales.
Okay. Now the sellers, on the other hand, many of them are not Wells, but it's funny how some of them are so close to becoming Wells and yet they're selling, And I really think the issue here is we need to get to know our team. And so that accountability and that responsibility factor needs to enter into the team structure. And that's why you've got a genealogy. You need to use that genealogy, let people know that, hey, distribution will only work if you are, verified, right? So we have about, I'd say something in around 3,000 people, that are actually making daily payments right now. And we've got about, 500 people that are verified at this point, maybe a little bit over that. So we have some work to do to get to the others. Okay. And if you're still operating multiple accounts, oh my God. You're still operating multiple accounts now? All right, we'll get to you. It won't take long for us to sort it out. Be aware that we're not dealing with insurmountable numbers here. We take a look at the holders of PFS, for example. Okay, go to PFS. This Zoom thing always gets in my way here. Okay, so PFS holders are right here. I'll just refresh it. So according to this, we have 387 PFS holders, but I would say it's probably closer to 300 because there's a lot of bots on the back page. If you go to the back page, like go to the last page here. I mean, it's just like look, if it's got a contract in front of it, it's a bot. Okay, and that ties into the liquidity, by the way. So if you ever want to understand how liquidity works, and you're studying the holders, understand these contracts.
Looks bad.
Basically, a lot of used up addresses, where liquidity was thrown by the pancake swap, like from 351 all the way down to 387. Like 99% of those are they don't count as holders. Okay, and then you go to the next page to the last, and you still see some here at the bottom here. Okay. And then now you're getting into some regular addresses. So, maybe this person here, they've got maybe, who knows, that could be about 10 cents maybe of a PSS coin, PFS coin, whatever, small amount. There's another bot there, but they just got these little tiny amounts. Okay. So the bots are always going to have the little paper looking thing on the left side. That's how you look. That's how you look at it. Okay. So we're not dealing with almost 400 people. We're dealing with something more like 300 people. And honestly, guys, 300 people, that's not that many people. Okay. And we have turned on distribution, but we're doing it in batches, right? So basically I have the current batch is receiving. Okay. All right, just say it. If you're receiving, say I'm receiving, just so people know that some of you here are receiving. If you're
I'm receiving.
I'm receiving.
Right, and trust me, there's definitely some correlation between showing up and receiving, because you tend to be more trusted. So I'm when I'm batching out the people that have been verified, I want to make sure that I'm not just throwing more money at someone that is like an unknown quantity, you know what I'm saying? And so this is why I'm looking for the genealogy to fill up with faces and not have so many white spots. That's your job. That's your job, okay? All right. Get your team, starting with your referrals, to get verified, okay? Because maybe a purge will be necessary, right? And then those people will just won't even have login access at some point if they're not verified. What's the point of even having them in the database? You understand my meaning, guys? Yeah.
Understand it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So let's get busy. Make sure we're using that genealogy and we're hunting down those that are just little white circles and turn them into a nice face, because once we take their picture, their verification picture will show up in the genealogy tree, and then we know they've been through verification. Then batch by batch by batch, we'll get everybody into distribution mode. But what's the point of caring too much about that right now when you can't sell anyway? There's no selling involved right now. So why should you care too much about it anyway? Does that make sense, guys? But see, what I am demonstrating to you guys is that my intent is to deliver coins to people after 91 days, right? That's my intent. But we're transitioning from a situation where there's clearly a need for some distrust. The honor system failed, guys. Sorry. I'm sorry. The honor system wasn't working. Okay. And sadly, it's not because the majority can't pass the honor system test. It's actually a very small minority of members that failed that test. You know what I'm saying? But because of them, it impacts all of us, as it would in any kind of community structure for doing anything out there with people doing weird stuff and bad stuff, blah, blah, And this is why accountability and responsibility need to be embedded into our processes and what we're doing. Okay. So, okay. Now, what else do I want to say? But I feel like we're going to be able to sort through and weed out the ones that are just not going to, not repent and not, those that are just not going to get with the program. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure there's plenty of people who sold $10 here, sold $20 there. They didn't realize how stupid that was to do it at the particular time they did. And maybe it made a small difference for them at that particular time. And okay, fine. But, we're doing something big and we need to approach it that way. Okay. And we all have to kind of pull our own weight, and shoulder that, like when it says don't sell, that means that for all of us, it's not for some of us. We need clear guidelines. So as you study the pool funding commitment, it's pretty much laid out there, how we're going to be able to move forward. And honestly, in order for this to reach the goals that I see that I'd like to have manifest, I'd want it to literally be a place where we could actually give people $3,000 a month to an endless number of people. So like if members don't look at the coins as something that they ever sell, like if someone were to ask me a point blank question, like, okay, when's the best time to sell pool funding coins? My first answer would be never. Okay. Because that's the only answer that I can make sense of. Now, I can then also say the same token, I understand why some people can't look at it that way, but that's because of the limitations they're putting on themselves and they're blinded by those things, right? But to me, you're better off borrowing against it, not selling it. You're better off trading it peer to peer, not selling it. Not right now. We haven't even hit our first price target, so for goodness sake, we got to get to our first price target. And the idea is that this is to help not just those of us listening to my voice right now, but this is to help humanity. Can you guys see how spreading a $3,000 a month giveaway to humanity could make a difference to humanity? Can you guys see how that would make a difference?
Yes.
And what if they could borrow against what they get that way? And they don't have to sell either, right? Imagine tens of millions of people having coin and none of them want to sell because they don't have a problem borrowing against it, right? Picture that. That's what we want to build. Isn't that cool?
That would be ideal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So anyway, that's what we're heading towards, but we know we're not dealing with one flavor of the human being here in our group. You know, we're not all cut the same way. And yeah, there's going to be people that will sell. How did you put it in your team meeting today, Karen? You gave me 3 choices. Can you repeat those 3 choices?
Okay, give me just a moment here.
Go back to your notes.
I'll go back to my notes. Yeah. Okay, the first and most important, I'll hold on to the coins, let them grow in value, because to sell them now is ludicrous and only hurts me and the community.
That's one.
Second, I hate to sell the coin, but I need the money for expenses, but I'll follow the guidelines, wait until we reach our price targets and talk to Ace before selling. And the third one, and the selfish one, is these coins are mine and I'll sell them whenever I darn well please. I don't care how it affects the community.
All right. And as I said in your team meeting, the first 2 options work. The third one doesn't. And those are the people that fall in that category of the third option. We need to root them out. And I need your help to do it. I can't be the only one rooting people out, guys. That's all of our responsibility. Am I right?
Yep,
Yes.
you're right. But as much as we do our best to explain to everyone that we are going to be considering to bring into the pool, there will be some who fall into that third category.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, it's unrealistic to think that they won't join, knowing that, you know, we're going to drive the prices up and then they're going to sell, like those 2 fellas that did, you know, a week ago.
That's right.
So, you know, it's unfortunate, but so we can do the best we can, you know, to filter those people out before they even join. But we can't do it, you know, there's just going to be a small percentage of people that'll do it anyway. And those are the ones that are going to upset the apple cart, so to speak. But the more people that we bring in, you know, the gradual growth of the coins because of more members coming in, you know, that's going to offset, you know, some of that activity. So
You're right about that. Okay.
yeah.
So very well said, Joe. Here's the deal, guys, is that there's things that we can do in mass that when occasionally these people that we're talking about, Joe's really drilling down on it, you know, they become a super minority, right? Because the responsibility happens before you give someone your link. Okay. You really got to know who you're dealing with, right? So let me tell you right now, we're looking for co-founders. We're not looking for, you know, people that want a handout. Okay. Well, we've got a giveaway. Don't misunderstand the offer for the meaning of it and the purpose of it. Okay. It's a point of attraction, but we don't need to go to the bottom of the barrel to actually, you know, build a team of people, right? We need to have, you know, some, you know, standards, if you will, right? Like, if you think, if you sum up a person as you get to know them before you offer them your link, okay, and you can tell yourself honestly that this person couldn't come up with $100, let alone $200 or $300 if needed, out of their own pocket ever, if their life depended on it. That's definitely someone you don't want to give your link to, guys. Okay, we're looking for co-founders. If they can't come up with $100, $200, $300 out of their own pocket, no problem at some point, okay, then they're not co-founder material. You see my point, guys? Because they're not ready for that station. You know what I'm saying? It's a big station. That makes sense, guys?
It makes sense. Yeah.
Good.
Okay. So that's the first point of responsibility is we got to be responsible how we're, you know, using our referral link so we don't, you know, add to the community more burden than it needs to carry. Okay. Because honestly, within that first 7 days, as we're doing that 777 giveaway, we're transitioning the person from receiving a giveaway, outlook to like, oh, now because I'd like to be included in the $3,000 a month giveaway, I got to have at least one person to join, and a quality person, by the way, a co-founder material kind of person, okay? Because that's really how it works, okay? And then not only that, but hopefully before you get to the end of that 7 days, you've helped that person get their own $111 tool, right? By guiding them how to use digital money and how to get it, get in and out of it, so that they can buy their own tool that they can use with their referral that they just got in order to qualify for the $3,000 a month giveaway. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So you're looking for two things to happen within the first week. And if after working with someone for about a week and it just looks like they can't come up with people, they can't come up with money, why would we want to keep on giving them, $111 of our coin? And I'll let you in on a little secret. I purposefully don't tell those people about the transaction fee that needs to be paid. Because guess what? Do you think those coins will roll into their wallet automatically after 91 days if there's zero in that transaction fee? No, it'll never get there, right? So I'm just cluing you in, okay? It's a filter. If they figure it out, because I just put it out there on YouTube, the secret, okay? But they had to get this far in the video to hear it, okay? But yeah, if they don't know that they got to pay for their own transaction fees, and that's actually included in the if you read the terms and conditions for Pool Funding, go to the bottom of the page and click on terms and condition. It says it right there. But if they don't ask, I don't tell, right? Because it gives me a week to work with someone to find out if they're quality enough that I want to keep working with them or not, right? And if they figure it out and they get the coin, okay, maybe they'll sell $771. I mean, whatever that amount. I'm stuttering. maybe they'll sell that at some point, and we'll get over it. Okay, we'll get over it. But the offer is real. Okay, but it's kind of a back and forth, like a seesaw, right? They give and take back and forth, and building a relationship of trust, right? You give a little, they give a little, you get, back and forth. Okay. That's all relationships work like that. Tell me I'm right.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay.
That's right.
Yep.
No different here. But I guarantee you guys, we can't build Pool Funding without the idea of real relationships. This thing will never get anywhere. It won't go anywhere unless we accept the idea this is about relationships. And why should we be motivated? Because resistance is not futile. That's why. Okay. I resist. Okay. How about you? Do you guys resist? I'm not going to be turned
I
into
resist.
I'm not going to be turned into some half human, half machine piece of garbage. That's not going to be me, right? One way or another, that ain't going to happen. Okay, it won't happen. Each of you better figure this out one by one. What you're going to go along with, because if society does a sharp left over here and says this is where society's going, and you're like, well, if that's you, you've already lost. In your case, I don't even know how to speak Borg. How do you speak Borg? They talk kind of robotic, So, yeah. I'm going to keep the humanness, all of it. I'm not letting any part of it go.
Yeah, I don't think they do speak.
A lot of them, they don't speak, other than the little sayings of resistance. They kind of speak in like, you can like hear multiple voices at the same time. Like, it's like when they start to talk, it's like you hear 1,000 voices simultaneously saying resistance is futile. It's not. Resistance is not futile, guys. It's just, we need to know that what we're doing here is, rejecting the idea that UBI is going to, somehow, get us through this transition that there's no, how could you be blind at this point and not know that we're in a transition into artificial intelligence and robotics? That's happening now, guys. I mean, is there anybody not aware of it? Okay. It's not we're not talking about science fiction anymore. Maybe 10, 20, 15, 20, whatever years ago, maybe it sound kind of like science fiction, but we're living that now, aren't we, guys? Aren't we?
Yes,
Yeah.
we are.
The video that I shared with you, I had the help of AI help me with it. I used to pay someone like $300 to make me something like that. Guess what? That person didn't get paid this time. Okay. They're out of a job. Okay. Wake up. It's happening. So we don't need to be afraid of it. We just need to do a right turn and say, you know what? Let's have mass cooperation. We got this. We can do it. Together we can win, not at the expense of anyone else, but together we can rise up and have a beautiful future together. That's what we all want, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay.
That's what I want. Yep.
All right. So I know I've been a little bit interactive with you, but I'm open now to Q&A. Let's just take a few minutes and give you guys a chance to, ask me anything or respond to my, meeting any way you want. It's up to you guys. We're in this together. I respect each of you. So go ahead. Anybody got something they want to add or ask or contribute in any way? Was I so
just to
good? I covered it all.
just-
Go ahead, Joe.
Just to clarify one point regarding the 777.
Yeah.
So if I bring someone in and they're part of 777, and after a week they decide not to continue with the program, do they receive that coin after 90 days? They don't, do they? They don't. They won't be
They
collecting
will
on there.
if they do what they're supposed to do. Okay. Right here. It's a real offer, man. But if you go to the account page right here, transaction fee, if that's zero, then nothing is going to be distributed. Okay. That's on
Right.
them to put something in there. If they leave it zero on the 91st day, nothing going to show up. 92nd day, nothing going to show up. Right. Maybe they call you up and I thought I had money coming in, 90 days. And now it's been over 90 days. And then say, yeah, but you didn't finish. So why are you talking to me now? You didn't seem interested in this, right? See how I kind of like
Yes.
changed the subject, And if they said no, but that was your offer, it was like, well, have you been to the website? Have you done what you're supposed to do? Right? Do it like that. And then if they twist your arm long enough and say, okay, did you pay the fee? Pay for the fee? Right? Or right now we also have verification. Like if you're not verified, that you're not going to get distribution. If you haven't paid your fee, you're not going to get distribution. But hey, if you meet the criteria of getting a distribution, you will get it.
Okay. So if they become verified and they do have some money for the transaction fee,
Yeah.
and after 7 days
Yeah,
they
like
stop.
they put $2 in there.
Yeah, after 7 days, they don't want to be part of the program, so they make no more payments,
Yep.
and they're not making daily payments. After 90 days, if they have that money and the transaction fee, then they will get that coin.
That's how it works.
Yeah, okay, just
Yeah.
wanted to be crystal clear on that. Okay,
But
great,
do
thank you.
you understand how I added strategy to how it works?
Absolutely. Yeah,
So if you take how it works and then lay a strategy on it, then you're protecting the community. Does that make sense?
right.
Because you never know, right? You don't know until you know, right? And so as you're dealing with a person for over a course of a week, you get kind of an idea what you're working with at that point. You know what I'm saying? And if it's a no-fly zone after a week, then the strategy is how can I protect the community from this guy who's probably going to sell? You know what I'm saying? But, at the same token, the offer is real, right? It's all there, right? They got a YouTube channel. I'm putting it all here on, this is going on YouTube. It's public notice. Okay.
Yep.
So there's no secret here, right? But the fact is, if I was the sponsor of that person, then my response ability, like I said, responses are a choice. There is no automatic this, automatic that. It's always a choice, right? So the individual responsibility. Hello, Mary, our Jersey girl. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I I do see the power in this, and I feel like not everybody's going to see the power in this. That's
Oh,
that's
you're
where,
bringing up a good point. I meant to mention something else, but I'm gonna let you finish because I forgot to mention something very important. But go ahead.
well, I feel like we need to strategize on how to attract a person who's going to understand the whole concept, which I think that second movie was beautiful. I mean, that one, like, I thought it was great. And like, I think we need to share that with people so they understand what it's all about. It's not just about giving away money. It's
That's it.
really, yeah, it's the strategy that we need to really sell, you know.
You're right.
Yeah, it's not, because if you're going to walk up to any person at a Wawa or Quick Check, okay, and say, "Do you want money? Give away money," they're going to all say yes, of course,
Right.
But
Yeah.
you have to attract the right kind of person. So, I don't know if anybody's ever seen this. It's a documentary, and it's really well done, and it's called Thrive, and it's
Yes,
very. Have you seen that?
I have. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So it's like that movement, those kind of people in that movement would be very attracted to this. So I feel like if maybe we could strategize on how we attract the right person to this, I think it would take off like really wonderful. So
Don't you wish right now? I mean, Thrive's been around for that whole movie thing.
13 years, I think it was.
But wouldn't it be great if everybody right now was already using free energy for everything?
Right, right. Exactly. I mean, but
Anyway,
it's yeah. So,
yeah.
but if we could attract that kind of a person that
But
understands.
I'm not saying that we need to be hyper, we don't have to be hyper selective because that doesn't work either. We're not going to hit the numbers I want to hit. I want to be as big as Facebook. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
We can't be so selective that, we're not going to hit that number eventually because we'll have 10,000 co-founders, 1 million partners, a billion members, right? That's really where
Mhm.
we're going here. So we can't be
Right.
too selective. But what I forgot to mention, and this was important, and thank you for you're a godsend. You're tickling my
Well,
brain. So thank you.
yeah.
But
Mhm.
I failed to mention that what I want to do is create a course. So what you saw is a video that will be part in the early part of the course. You're going to be exposed to that video in the early part of the course. I'm going to develop an actual course. So instead of a series of just, here's a bunch of things for you to watch and read on our account page, I actually wanted people to take quizzes, stuff. I want them to do stuff in passing the course, right?
Yeah, like
And then
actually make them
make
think
that
about.
a requirement in order for them to actually enjoy the distribution after 91 days. So that would be another thing that has to get done. They got to complete the course, right? Now,
Mhm.
I'm not talking about something that is going to be designed at the college level. It'll probably be designed at the fourth grade, maybe third grade level. Okay.
Yeah, common sense stuff.
Yeah, really down to the, where we're, even someone that's, you know, who doesn't like to listen to big words. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
You know, a lot of people can't stand listen to people pontificate, for example. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I'm not. Yeah, no,
And so
no, right.
we don't want to put people through a course that's just going to go over their head. And we want a course that actually will be, by design, it will drive it right into their heart and say, isn't this you? And don't you want something better for yourself and the rest of humanity? Right? And
True.
that's why that
Yeah.
video, that's the beginning of that course. What do you think?
Yes, I think it's important because
Yeah.
if they don't understand that from the
And
get-go,
it's free. You don't have to pay for the course, by the way. Okay.
right.
So, yeah.
And also I think it's important for people to understand if you leave your coin in your wallet, right? How do you borrow against it? Like,
Yeah.
are you borrowing against like,
You're borrowing against an asset.
right. So, but who, I mean, we're basically acting
Your coin moves from your wallet to the lender's, you know,
kind of like a crypto bank.
yeah, like a crypto bank where it goes into an account separate just for you. It's not commingling funds or anything like that. It's like, you know, it's you got your allocation and then and then you get whatever, probably USDT or whatever, as in return as money that you're borrowing. Then you can use that USDT to do what you got to do, and then later pay it back and get your coin back. Okay, but the coin will actually move from your wallet to, you call it a bank, from that
Right. I
you call
mean,
it a
yeah.
bank back to your wallet after you pay back the loan. Coins are
Okay.
going to move, but it doesn't move through the market and impact the price.
Okay. Because I think that's important for people to understand too.
Yeah, they need to understand that like day number one.
Right.
Yeah, that they need to know. Some people might refer to that as the exit strategy, right? So yeah, they need to
Right.
know how the
Right.
exit strategy works. But again,
Because
these are big
I did-
ideas. These are big
right.
things, and we're talking about things we're going to do, and we need to take it in the context that we're talking about it right now, and we're having a discussion about it. It's not that we're talking about something that is. It's something that we're creating, but we have clear direction on what we're creating. Okay. The good news is that we're not the first one to come up with the idea of borrowing. I mean, there's plenty of websites that are offering that right now, and peer-to-peer has been around even longer, you know. So
No, I mean, I get that. I definitely get that. That's what I just think that people that are not familiar with crypto need to understand
yep,
how this works. Yeah.
you are 100% correct, Mary. Is she right or is she right?
He's right.
Okay,
You're right.
we have consensus, Mary. You're right.
I love this idea. I really do. It's just selling it. It's selling the idea. That's what you're selling here.
Yeah, but you have 7 days to sell it over. You don't have to worry about selling it before they join, right? That's where the selling takes place, is after they've joined, not before they've joined. Does that make sense?
Yes, because
Yeah.
it worked for like I didn't really understand how the whole thing worked until after I joined, because then you see the system working and then it all clicks and makes sense.
In my lifetime, I must have done at least 1,000 different things that I had no clue what I was getting myself into. You guys relate to that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
I mean,
I just
sometimes
jumped
it just takes faith.
and I just like figured out what's going on once I got there. And sometimes I was happy about it and sometimes I wasn't, but that's life. That's just how it goes. That's natural. We're trying to be as natural here as possible. I think our process, the more natural it is, the better. Right, guys? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Good point there, Mary. Thanks for bringing it up. Your contribution, it brought out, like I said, godsend. I needed to put that information into this video. It was very important that people hear that a course is coming. Let's just say July 2025. I can probably have version 1 of the course put together. Give me some time. It takes time, right, to put something together. And I'm not talking about something it's going to take you, you know, 100 hours to get through. It's not going to be crazy like that. Okay. But yeah, there'll be quizzes. We just want to make sure people understand what we're doing here, right? Because it's very easy for a person just to be selfish if they don't know any better. You know what I'm saying? Right? It's very easy to say, I'm just going to sell because I need it, you know? And when they don't realize, first of all, how they hurt themselves, and secondly, they're hurting something that's meant for humanity, not just even the community that exists, but the community that will become part of what we're doing as this expands into humanity. Because guys, we're in a trap. Millionaire or not, we're in a trap. Okay. And enough of us have got to be together on this to get out of the trap, you know. I mean, there are non-financial ways out of the trap. They just don't appeal to me, you know. There's a jungle here, and I could disappear quite easily into the jungle, but that doesn't mean I'll have a good time, okay? You get it, guys? That's a non-financial solution. I could eat frogs, you know, whatever I could whatever I could catch, right? If I can catch it, I can eat it. There's plenty of fruit, but you know, eventually you're going to need some protein, you know. So frogs, fish, yeah. Yeah, I could live off the land here where I'm at, but that would suck. You know. Anyway, so listen, realize that what we're doing is got direction coming from higher powers, okay? This isn't just it's not an earthly thing, okay? You got to recognize what's really guiding all of this, okay? It's not just coming from a material perspective. Okay? Receive that. Tap into it. And you know, that same question I keep asking, try to figure out what you are. As soon as you do, you'll really be able to tune into what I'm trying to put out there, you know. So some of you have figured it out what you are, some of you haven't. Some of you you're selling yourself short on just how amazing and powerful you really are. And that this system is nothing. It's like being wrapped in toilet paper. You can just break free, you know. So you know, so yeah, we got this. Okay, we got this. We can do it. All right. Just trust in yourself. That's the first place you put trust, is trust in yourself, and always do right by yourself. And if you got a chance to team up with other people that can help make things better for where you live, that's always a good thing, right? And they can expand out from there. Okay. But yeah, that's it. You know, there's nothing wrong with self-interest, but we do things in measured strokes no matter what we do in life. You know, when I get in the car, like the other day, I was talking about being in a car. You know, we certainly take measurement when we're in the car. Am I right? You know, every second we're measuring exactly what's going on, and rightly so, right? Same thing here. You know, I'm not asking anybody to do anything outrageous or anything that's gonna be bad or yeah. Everything is by choice and by offer and consent, and we're coming together to figure this out together, because I'm only one mind, and I appreciate the fact that I have other minds to collaborate with, right? It's a beautiful thing when you think about it. So thank you for all of you being here, and thank you all for being you, right? I mean, Hunter's got a lot of write-ups on this kind of stuff. You know, read his stuff. Read what Hunter has to say on the topic I'm on right now. That damn it, you are special. Okay, so please give yourself enough credit to know who you are, that you are special, that you are important, and you do keep showing up for a pretty damn good reason, and it's not just money. Okay, keep showing up because your heart's drawn in. There's a calling here, you know. You're feeling it. You know that you're here to do something and be a part of something much bigger than yourself, perhaps. Or, you know, again, the whole synergy thing, that the whole, you know, the whole community, right? The whole is greater than the sum of its parts, you know. But I also want to recognize how important it is to empower the individual. And that's why the current global system, financial and other, you know, it's multi-layered, okay? It doesn't recognize that. In fact, it's finding a way to strip power from the individual every which way it possibly can. Okay? And if you accept that as reality, then that's what you're going to get. I don't accept it. I expect each of us to embrace a movement of individual empowerment. And that means all of
Amen.
us. Okay. Amen. Thank you for the amen. All right. So that's it, guys. Mary, thank you. Anybody else want to add question? We can wrap it up if you want.
Ace, how you doing, sir?
Always good, Garfield Money. Thanks for all the high energy today. Appreciate that from you.
Yeah, I got froze up there, man, and couldn't get in there. Ace, yeah, every week you come, you talk, and you say you're doing something about it, but somebody still SELELLING. What's
Sure.
up with that?
It's a process, man. It's not,
Are they that stupid?
well, let's
Yeah.
let's just say that there are people that really are out of touch. They're technically making payments every day, so they're doing that, but they're so robotic that they don't even know what they're part of, right? And so I'm doing my best to reach out to people, you know, but you know, I haven't talked to everybody. There's 3,000 people making payments every day. You know what I'm saying? So I have not personally met all of them. Have you?
No, well, we're
Thank
not
you.
looking for the people that make it say payment. We're looking for the people that's selling and screwing the system up.
Yeah, and many of the people that are selling are new people that I haven't seen before, right? So uh I do get reports. So here's what happens, guys, just so you know. And this is why I need to push this over to you guys, and not, so it's not just on me. Let me open up Telegram real quick. So I get reports, and I do my best to respond as I get these reports. Okay, let me just find an example here. So here we go. So this wallet address today, okay, they sold 0.000004, and they got $8.53. Okay, but that left a mark on our chart. Okay. And then before that, there was another unknown party, and they consolidated two payments here. So they got $29 and they got $11, a total of $40. Okay. And that's from that wallet address on the 14th. So, and this is just one of my, executives. So I get, their number one job is to report to me what's going on. And I start seeing numbers where it's 200, 400. Those tend to get my attention more. Like this one here, daylight. Okay. Hey, man, I'm all over this daylight person. Okay. I did a deep dive. I tried to figure out who the heck is this. Okay. Because they made some significant sales, like $800 there. Okay. So I went into a deep dive on that one. They left a big mark. Okay. But that's why I say the system needs to evolve so that it goes beyond what I do, right? And that we send a notification out to the sponsor, to the two people above the sponsor, the upline, if you will. Maybe up 5 levels, but for sure 3. You know what I'm saying? And the notification going out so that anybody that's doing something that's violating the pool funding commitment, then the team can jump all over it. That's what we're developing and building, Garfield. And so I'm sorry that processes cannot be, bookend with, beginning and end. Sometimes a process is open-ended and you just have to just go with the flow and realize that the intent is to be doing something about it. But part of that process was to come here in this meeting and talk about it. That's actually part of the process, and then put it out on YouTube. Does that make sense, guys?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Garfield, does that help you feel better?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But hey, sir, the thing is, what you gotta do, you gotta start going after the upline, man. Let the upline know, hey, if somebody in your line is screwing up,
that's
it's affecting you too. You know what I'm saying?
I
It's
agree.
affecting them.
Yeah.
Let them know. Since you trying to be a nice guy and not getting nowhere, start going after the upline and let the upline feel it too. You know what I'm saying? Somebody in your
Yeah.
team
It's
sell,
still
you get
it's still a
penalized too.
process. So am I going to declare that selling is ended as of this meeting? Nope, can't do that because I know it's going to probably continue because we haven't embedded all of the elements that are necessary to bring it to a nice clean end. But trust me, we'll get there,
And I guess these people that are doing this crap, they haven't got rug pull, so they don't know how it hurt when you're trying to build something
They might
and
they might have been
you know what
rug
I'm
pulled,
saying?
and that might be their motivation too. It could go both ways, So, but here's the thing: don't obsess over it. Let me put it to you this way: sometimes you just have to accept things, and be like, okay, we're gonna get there when we get there. It's like the kids in the back seat saying, "Are we there yet? Are we there yet?" And mom and dad are getting irritated because, like, it's a journey. Come on, yeah,
But Ace, every time you try to fix it, it get extended. From December, from
I
this last December, we were
I
supposed to
did.
see something.
Yeah, I
We were
started.
supposed to see something, and then you're trying to fix it. It goes to January.
Yeah, I realized that. Look, clearly the honor system didn't work, and that that's what we had built upon, and that's not working. I think adding accountability and responsibility into the team level is necessary. Don't you agree with that, Garfield? And then providing that team notifications when their members are doing something that's violating the commitment. It's going to help in the future, right? So, yeah. So try not to get too, like I said, look, it's going to happen sooner than later because we're only talking about 300 people. That's a small number, Garfield. 300 people that have PFS coin. Most of those people holding PFS coin received it through distribution, not by purchase. Okay. That's really the main target. Once we've squared that away, everything else is going to be pretty easy to work out. That's kind of the center point is the PFS coin. What happens in PFB, PFI? I think any improvement that we make through the PFS is going to also have a direct impact on PFB and PFI coin, which has larger groups of holders. But all you got to do is just sit there and look at the power of the holder. You get past 100. Okay, when you get past 100, like holder number 101 on any one of our 4 coin, and consider just how much power they have, it's pretty small. You can go measure it yourself. So I'm not alarmed. You kind of sound like an alarmist. I am not alarmed by the numbers I'm looking at. That makes sense? And if we really want the opportunity where there's, enough of, what do you want to call it? Where like there's a power to withdrawal, right? We get past the first price targets, and then have enough price stability to justify, some cashing in, if you will, and selling that is without penalty, right? In order to get to that place, we need to have some price stability. The bigger equation that we need to solve is not the sellers, it's actually the growth, having team growth. Are we growing fast enough? Are our numbers big enough? Right? That's really the side that you should put more of your concern at. If you're hyper focused on the sellers, you're only looking at one of two equations that matter. The most important equation is, are we growing fast enough? Are we getting big enough? Do we have enough people that buy into the idea of buying $1 a day every day, like I do? Okay, I buy $1 of coin every day, every single day. And once that becomes like routine for most of us, then that's when we'll have price stability. Okay, that's what will create it, by the way. Okay, so getting focused on timelines, or like March, April, May, June, getting any attention put on time like that, to me it seems like it's stressing you out. But to me, there's a layer of stress, yes, but I'm not stressed out. There's a difference, right? So I can feel the tension, but I don't let it, doom me or depress me or bring me into a low station. Would you guys want me to respond that way? Would you guys want me to
No.
to deal with stress in a way where I just crawl in bed and like, oh, fuck it. I'm like, whoop, I shouldn't have said that one on
You
YouTube.
do that. We don't want you to do that, but you say every week we sit there and you say the same thing over and over. Don't sell. Don't sell. The person
Yeah.
is selling, they got to be stupid or they ain't got no brain.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? They need somebody to put up their ass. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, we're getting out of hand now. Sorry. And it's me too. So I apologize for both of us. Anyway, can we just stop there and just say enough is enough? So that's that. All right, Scott, you got your hand up.
Yeah, I was just thinking, excuse me, if growth is the major issue, is there a possibility of maybe doing some kind of marketing?
Yeah,
for everybody?
that's why I'm setting up the thing with the one click to join, that how important that component is. So we're super close. We're super close on having like things set for, really fast growth. And so, and yeah. So the paid, coming back around to the paid sign up thing, being able to do that in an effective way. So creating that, but with that one click thing, that kind of has to come first. That's first, then we come and perfect the marketing side of it. And then we say, okay, here's something you all can do, and it works really well. But to me, the most effective thing is person to person. Put that poster in front of them, 45-second test. They pass it or fail. If they pass it, you move to a 1-minute video, pass or fail. If they pass it, you move to the 777 2-minute video. They pass or fail, and then they register, at that point, right? And you just move them through these pass or fails, things that take very little time. That makes sense, Scott?
Yeah, I actually mean having somebody, because I know we have people in the community that are very experienced marketers. Maybe they could give advice to people on how to actually
they have
market online.
They actually have. Yeah. So and they will continue to do so, right? Today's meeting wasn't really about that subject. In other words, not all meetings can be about all subjects all the time, right? I hope you guys understand we have to have a container, right? But yeah, I agree with what you're saying. The marketing thing is definitely an important aspect that we need to make, it's like an ongoing perfection, right? Never ending. I'm making it better and better and better. There's no end to marketing, right?
Okay, good.
Okay. All right. Okay, guys. So you guys know anything about the YouTube policy? Is this one going to be able to fly, or do I have to sit there and figure out how to edit this thing? Anybody know?
It should fly. I've
Okay.
heard plenty of people
Okay, got it.
use expletives.
Okay.
Um,
On
yeah,
YouTube?
in their videos. Yeah.
Okay. It was such a small thing. Anyway,
Yeah.
but the bottom line, guys, is um I just want everybody to realize that we're getting there. We actually have more positive things to put our attention on, and we are actually moving forward. You have to recognize the movement forward, but eliminating sellers, we don't really have a big selling problem if you want to measure it properly, and you go and you basically look at how many members we have against how many sellers we have. It's not even hitting 1%. Okay, so we don't have a big selling problem, but at the same token, um it's still happening, and the best way to address it is to dig into the team level of the structure of what we're building here, and empower the leaders and the sponsors with the ability to know what's happening. Like, there's people that they don't know their referrals are the ones selling. They don't even know, right? So how could they help if they don't even know? Right? Well, I need to create the system, and I'll have that for you soon. You're going to have a system that you'll be notified when your referrals, or your so-called, we'll call it downline, they're selling. And then at that point, like, what are you doing? Right? And because I think people are more inclined to do the wrong thing when they think they can do it, and they're completely hidden, and they're not exposed, right?
Right, right.
But if they're in the light of day, and if we recognize there's nothing to hide here, and we should all operate with everything we do transparently and in the light of day, because there's no one's doing anything wrong here. And then if someone violates the pool funding commitment, then the appropriate parties are notified. Yeah. And then it's addressed.
Yeah.
And then that's how we minimize it. Go ahead, Karen.
Would it be safe to say that the people that are selling coin never attend one of these webinars?
I would say
Absolutely.
that's like a 100% true statement. Okay.
Okay.
But there are some people who have attended, have been here and there, and it's not like they've never been in a meeting before, but they still chose to sell because they thought they could get away with it. Right? They could do it, and no one would even know that they did it. You know what I'm saying? And as long as people feel like that's true about our coin, then we got a problem. What we need to do is make it very clear that no, not with our coin. We know what you're doing, and the appropriate parties will be notified. And you can't do things in darkness here. We need to be everything out in the open, everything in the light. That's where we need to operate, and we'll have all the tools and everything built before you know it, so that everybody can operate in the sunshine and treat each other properly. There you go. You're writing something where I need to open up chat to read it, though. Let's see here. Let's see here. Okay. Mary wrote 20. Oh, okay, here we go. Yes, I'm on board. Has to be easier if any new to crypto. How close are we to the easier onboarding? Crypto is very transparent. You need to know your why, that you are in this. Yeah. You need to know your why. Yeah. And I hope everybody has the why, that pool funding is more than just a business opportunity. How many of you see pool funding as something more than a business opportunity? How many see it larger than that?
I do.
I do too, Ace.
I
I do.
do.
Yeah.
Yes,
It's a
for sure.
movement. It's
Okay.
a
Yeah.
movement.
Yeah. We're way bigger than that. And you know, it's rare to find something that's 100% commission, right? And you have to ask yourself, why is it 100% commission? It's because my why I'm doing this is so big that 100% commission is what makes sense. You know, I've created a stockpile of coin. You don't have to buy them in order to sell them, right? You know, that's amazing, right? And you guys coming in and you know, as co-founders, right? So you're not seen as, we're the administration above you. No, we don't look at it that way. We look at it like this. We are together doing this together, co-founders together. Okay. Yeah, Susan H says, I don't even look at this as a business opportunity. I see it as a project to benefit humanity. Thank you, Susan, for saying that, for writing that. So, yeah, and you know, and to me, everything happens for us, not to us. So the sellers are actually contributing somehow to our well-being, right? It's important that we get some of these things sorted out in the early days, right, Hunter? It's important we sort these things out in our early days so it doesn't slap us upside the head in our later days when things are the scale of things are much bigger and you know, right? So it's important,
Exactly.
right? So we're learning our lessons now, you know, and I'm sorry that I don't have a perfect crystal ball that tells me when something's going to happen. Not perfect, guys. It's the best I got. Okay. Take it or leave it. But you know, since we have clear direction, we just go forward. Right? And that's what matters more than anything else. We go forward. And trust me, I have a lot more options at my disposal than most of you are even aware of. There are things that you don't know. Why is that? Because everybody has this large category called you don't know what you don't know. Okay. And you know, nobody knows what I know. Okay. I mean, I know about options that I'm unwilling to talk about. We always have options that I'm not willing to talk about until it becomes, you know, important to talk about them. Right. But it's best that people realize that we just continue through the process. We do it in a calm way, and no one has to get, you know, overly concerned about this, that, or the other. And, you know, and yeah, life is life. And so, yeah, we all have our dreams and things, but I was just sitting here thinking about Pete, who passed away, and he's a HODL that you know didn't get fulfilled before he passed away, right? But he came in, he put a significant amount of money into becoming a HODL, and then I had a conversation with his widow, his wife that he left behind, you know, and I said, you know, my door's open. I want to talk to you anytime you want to talk, but yeah, you got coin here. You know, you need to figure this out and learn about it, you know. But yeah, while he was here on Earth, HODL didn't fulfill itself the way it wanted it to fulfill, you know. But I hope that's not your concern, Garfield. We want you to be here for the next 10 years, okay, buddy? Hang in there, okay? So,
Ace, it's not you, man. It's not you, bro. Some of the people around, man. They're sitting on their brain, bro. They're sitting on their brain.
well, it's the thing is you have to realize that pool funding is a mixture of humanity, you know. And so even with our small numbers that we have, the 3,000 people that we got active, it's approaching 4,000. It's getting there. But you know, we got people from all kinds of different countries, okay? If you look around in your room right now, Garfield, if it's airtight, you're better off than some of our other members who don't. I mean, you can see through the walls of some of these people's homes, okay, where they live, okay? I know them. Here in the Philippines, if you look at the size of our membership and how many of them are Filipino, and then you look at the living conditions, many of these Filipinos that, they look great, and they talk to you, they dress their, they actually bathe, they take showers and all that. But many of them live in what you would call a shanty. You can see through the walls of their home. And that's their life, but they're online, they're doing their best, but they're in a poor country and their
Yeah,
housing.
because they stand proud. They stand proud, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. They're-
So I can relate to that, you know what I'm
so,
saying?
so we got the spectrum here, and we want to help everyone, but we're not trying to fill up our co-founder seats with people living in shanties, okay? We much be better off if we can fill these co-founder seats with people that can bring in some think about like a think tank, that'd be great. That's the ideal. I'm not expecting it. I'm not expecting to have 10,000 brainiacs, running a pool funding going forward. That'd be nice. I can dream, right? That'd be nice. But it's good that we have the opportunity. Our doors open to everyone, and if you can come up with a couple $100 on your own, we'll fit you into one of these co-founder seats, because you'll fit right in. If you're going to struggle to come up with a couple $100 on your own, you probably need to wait till member time, after the partners are filled, So we got the co-founders, we got the partners, and then general membership. Let's try to help those people that are, really needy. Let's try to help them after we've filled the co-founder and the partner seats, right? So that's what I'm saying. So I'm not saying we have to have a big filter on our selection process of inviting people in. It doesn't have to be like, do you have a college degree? Do you, a list of things like, no. Do you have time? Do you have a heart? Do you have a couple $100? Okay, then you're going to fit right in, right? Those are the filters I'm looking to use, right?
Yeah.
And then, if they bring, some level of intelligence with that, that's a bonus. But honestly, I'm going to have to write this course at the 3rd and 4th grade reason for a good reason, because I'm sorry. We're not the most advanced civilization that's ever been on the planet. Okay, guys, the evidence is too clear. We're one of the dumbest civilizations to exist on this planet. If you go back in world history, okay, we've been dumbed down chemically, psychologically. Our education system is not designed to make us intelligent. It's specifically designed to keep us dumb and train us to be more like a prisoner than it is to be think about it. The similarities between school and prison are two, parallel. It's on purpose. Okay. Yeah. And it just is what it is. But we are going to have to work with what we got and where we are, and wake up to the underneath all of that, underneath all is this greatness. Okay. So and previous civilizations prove it. As far as I'm concerned, the evidence there proves just how big we really are. We're much bigger than we give ourselves credit for, because we've done it before, done some amazing stuff. Just dive into archaeology a little bit, and you'll see what I'm talking about. All right, guys. Well, this has been a ultra long meeting, so probably not going to be one of the most watched videos, but we covered a lot of ground. We covered a lot of ground in the video, and it's going to go on YouTube. And so there it is. For the record, it'll be there. But I thank you for coming. Thank you for hanging out for the whole time. And hopefully you've walked away from this with more assured about what we're doing and how we're getting there than not. Because for every problem there's a solution, and realize that for every solution there's a problem. Okay. So it's going to be that infinity 8 thing until we get to where we want to get. And let me just put a fine point on the meeting. We want to get out of the trap. We're trapped. I see it. I'm trapped just like you're trapped. I'm part of this overall society as it is. We're in the same trap, guys. And together we can get out. Okay? We can get out of this financial trap that we're in, and we can have a much better way going forward because yeah. So that's why a course is coming, and I appreciate all of you being here. That's it, guys. So thank you, Hunter, for hosting the long co-founder trainings. We're like 30 minutes longer than I normally like it to be. So thank you all for coming, and we'll see you again on Thursday for another training. And tomorrow we'll have a very short, brief opportunity meeting to make up for this very long training today. Okay. All right. We'll see you guys. We'll see you guys soon. Everybody can unmute now and say bye for now. See you later.
Good
Yeah, thank
night.
you.
Bye.
Everyone. Yeah.
Love
Bye
and
for now.
light.
Now, see you later.